The Istanbul Cipher. Chapter 12. The streets of Balat felt older before the sun came up. Narrower, quieter. Like the city was holding its breath. I leaned against a chipped concrete post as Emre crouched in the middle of a weedy lot, unfolding the scanner tripod with the casual confidence of someone who'd built it from scraps. Sibyl paced a few steps away, checking the audio levels on her field recorder. "We're good on ambient," she said. "No traffic this early." "It'll sound clean." Ayla and Layla knelt beside Emre. The four of them moved in practiced silence now, their rhythms syncopated and sharp. Not students. A crew. "AR overlay in 3, Emre said, tapping on his tablet. 2, 1. The orphanage flickered into being. It wasn't a building, more of a memory. Stitched from partial models and photo reconstructions, arched windows hung ghost-like in the air. A bell that hadn't rung in 50 years glinted above a faded doorway, now covered by graffiti and time. From a second-floor balcony across the alley, an old woman stepped out with a cup of tea. She stared at the projection for a moment, then called down in Turkish, "I went to that school." "My sister, too." Layla looked up, stunned. "You remember it?" The woman nodded. "They said it collapsed. But I knew it was still here, just hidden." Sibyl lifted her recorder. "May I?" The woman smiled. "Tell them it mattered." I stood there, heart caught somewhere between pride and unease. This was the reason I'd started teaching. Not for grades, for moments like this, where knowledge became a bridge across erasure. But as Emre packed the tripod and the others crowded around Sibyl to replay the clip, I caught movement out of the corner of my eye. A shadow stepping back around a corner too fast, too practiced. My hand drifted to my phone. No signal drop, no static. Still, a knot formed at the base of my spine. We were making history visible again. And I had the creeping sense that someone wanted it to stay buried. The youth center buzzed low with fan noise and fluorescent hum. Outside, Istanbul roasted under June heat. But inside, the air was cool, stale, and somehow perfect for secrets. Sibyl unrolled a crinkled envelope across the table. "I found it in a false bottom," she said, voice hushed. "Taped under my grandfather's old letterbox." She slid the paper toward Layla and me. Yellowed, handwritten, nearly torn along the folds. Ayla raised an eyebrow. "More maps?" Sibyl shook her head. "A poem." Layla leaned forward. "From Anahid's brother?" Sibyl nodded once, then read aloud in Turkish, slow and deliberate. "A star beneath stone. A script left in silence, where prayers once crossed paths, and blood fed the roots." The room stilled. Even Emre stopped typing. "That's not just poetry," Ayla murmured, pulling the paper closer. "That's topographic." "What do you mean?" I asked, though I already had a sense. "It's referencing layers," she said. "Stone over star? Could be a hidden symbol, a site buried under something. And the line about prayers crossing, multiple religions, same location. That's not metaphor, that's coordinates." Emre tapped his screen, already pulling up the overlapping religious sites map from earlier. "I've got 3 intersections from our last scan batch. One here, near a disused tiki. One closer to the old cistern routes, and one inside the zone marked off by the cultural ministry." "Of course," Layla muttered. "Always where we're not supposed to go." I glanced at Sibyl. She wasn't looking at the map. She was staring at the poem like it might speak again. He wanted someone to find this, she said. He didn't write it for himself. You think it's a riddle? Emre asked. No. Her voice was calm, certain. It's a trail. And it starts with that techie. I felt the hairs rise along my forearms. The poem wasn't just about memory. It was memory, encoded, waiting for someone to listen closely enough to hear it speak. The Sufi tekke was nearly swallowed by the city, tucked behind rusted gates and half covered in creeping jasmine. From the street, it looked like a maintenance shed. You'd never guess what it once held. Sibyl knocked twice, then paused, knocked again. The gate creaked open. Imam Farooq stood in the shadow of the archway, white beard catching the dusk light. His eyes landed on Sibyl, softened, and he opened the gate wider. You must be Misak's granddaughter. Sibyl's face broke into something between surprise and reverence. You knew him? He was a quiet man with too much memory, Farooq said. Come. The courtyard beyond was small and cracked. Plants pushed between old stone pavers. I counted at least 3 layers of patchwork brickwork, eras stacked on eras. Farooq led us inside the prayer hall. It was modest, simple. But in the back, tucked behind a faded niche, was a slab of stone veined with moss and something else. Carved letters worn almost flat. Layla crouched beside it. There's something here. Faint. Emre unpacked the portable scanner. The low whine of the LIDAR sweep hummed through the room. Farooq rested his hand gently on the arch. This was never meant to last. Not in stone. But it endured anyway. When the scanner beeped completion, Emre displayed the image on his tablet. Ayla leaned in. That's not just Ottoman script. Look, those curls, Armenian and maybe Greek, all fused into one carving. Sibyl knelt, tracing the grooves on the screen with her finger. These are the prayers. Farooq nodded. One God, many names. One silence, many echoes. That's what the old mystics believed. They worshipped together here, quietly, when the world outside said they couldn't. Layla activated the AR overlay from the app. A faint shimmer lit up the stone through the tablet screen, slowly forming the shape of 2 clasped hands beneath a star and crescent. None of us spoke for a moment. Then Farooq said softly, "Be careful where your light falls. Not all shadows are yours to chase." And suddenly the techie felt heavier, older, watching us back. We met Kansu behind the museum's side annex just after midnight. She was pacing under a dim yellow security lamp, wringing her hands and checking the time like she expected it to dissolve. "I have 15 minutes before the night shift circles this wing," she said, yanking a side door open with a swipe card. "Don't ask where I got that." "No phones," she added, glancing at Emre and Ayla. "No screenshots. You memorize what you see." The corridor smelled of plaster and age. A fan buzzed overhead. We followed her past crates of broken pottery and restoration tools until she stopped at a workstation, still glowing from standby mode. "This is it," she said, pulling up a restoration log. I found it in a buried folder marked 2020, Archive Demolition Scans. Most of the building's gone now, but not everything. She clicked open a folder. Emre leaned in, eyes wide. There, rendered in overlapping high-res scans, were fragments of mosaic panels, each tagged with multilingual annotations. The one at the center had a circular motif. Greek characters on the outside, Armenian script curled inward, and faint Arabic calligraphy woven into the center. Isla squinted. That's not just decoration. That's a cipher. I stepped closer. Like a seal. No, said Emre. Like a lock. He tapped through the layers. As he magnified the center tile, we could see faint mathematical ratios embedded in the spacing. The symbol structure is palindromic. It's designed to be read in all directions. Layla whispered, "This is it." The church from the photo? The one that vanished. Kansu looked over her shoulder. It wasn't demolished. That building still exists. Registered as a warehouse, but look at the facade ID in the permit logs. She pulled up a satellite overlay. The shape matched the original blueprint, but the name had been redacted. Isla hissed, "They changed the record. Hid it in plain sight." Kansu closed the tabs, fast. "Okay, that's all I can risk." "Copy nothing. Go." We slipped out, hearts pounding, minds racing. They didn't just hide the building, I thought. They rewrote it. The courtyard behind the tekke was silent, except for the shuffle of our footsteps on the worn flagstones. The gate had creaked open like a secret being told too loudly, and I half expected someone to shush us. But it was just the wind. Imam Farooq met us near the prayer niche. His expression was soft, but his eyes darted between the teens, measuring them, measuring what we might break. "I knew her grandfather," he said quietly, nodding to Sibyl. "He once asked me if stone could carry memory." I told him, "Stone is the only thing that ever does." She lowered her head, hands clenched tight. Farooq led us inside, motioning toward a small alcove at the back of the courtyard. There, beneath a crumbling prayer arch, sat a smooth slab of granite flush with the ground. Faint etching curved beneath its surface, like vines pressed into skin. Emre dropped to one knee and swept a small flashlight over the carving. "There," he said. "Inscription line. Arabic and Armenian, twisted together." Farooq translated, fingers brushing the stone like it might wake. One God, many names. One silence, many echoes. A hush settled, not reverent, charged. Sibyl activated her phone's developer mode and projected a filtered overlay. Slowly, the AR revealed the faint outline of the clasped hands motif. Not visible to the naked eye, but hovering there in blue-green light, curled beneath the etching like a watermark. "It's real," Layla said. "Every time we think it's metaphor, it turns out to be stone." Farooq stepped back. "Be careful where your light falls," he said. "Not all shadows are yours to chase." I met his eyes, and for a breath, I wasn't a teacher or guide. I was just another adult trying not to lose the thread. "Do you believe it's still there?" "The mosaic?" He gave a quiet smile. "Some things can be hidden. Others only buried." We left quietly, but I carried his warning with me. Echoes are loudest when someone tries to silence them. The restoration wing smelled like plaster dust and lemon polish. We crept past crates labeled in Turkish and French, the lights low, only the blue glow from Emre's laptop illuminating our path. Kansu led the way with quiet defiance, her museum badge swinging from her lanyard like it had something to prove. "I've got 15 minutes before the security bot does its round. Make it count." We ducked into a glass-walled workroom. Emre cracked open the old hard drive with surgical precision, hands flying over the keys. "This shouldn't even be live," he muttered. But someone archived these scans manually. Sybil hovered behind him, her breath hitching when the folder opened. Inside, layered restoration files, 3D models, fragment overlays, a 1,000-year jigsaw puzzle in digital form. One image stopped us all. A circular mosaic, fractured but legible. Its design wove 3 scripts into one pattern: Greek, Armenian, Arabic. A cipher, hidden in plain sight, spiraling outward from a central sunburst. I leaned in. "Have you seen this before?" Layla nodded, stunned. "It matches the sketch from Anahid's diary. This is the real church." Emre began cross-referencing the metadata. GPS tags, file origins, server logs. It was marked for demolition after the '87 gas leak, but the permit lists it as a storage facility. No religious designation. "Still standing?" Ayla asked, already pulling up satellite maps. Emre pointed. "Barely. But yes." I stepped back, letting them orbit the discovery. Their voices low, focused, brave. It wasn't just about reclaiming truth anymore. It was about protecting what should have never been erased. Then Emre froze. His screen stuttered. "Wait." A diagnostic ping popped up. Unusual traffic. A ghost signal had followed them in, watching their data stream. "IP trace?" I asked. "Ministry subnet," he whispered. "Same one that hit us before." We stared at the screen as the session flickered. The files vanished from the shared drive. Emre yanked the USB. Too late. Layla exhaled. "They know we found it." Outside, the museum halls were silent. Too silent. We were no longer searching in secret. We were being hunted in the open.